And we are live. This will be a live edition of Taking Into Account episode 39. I figured, let's just do it live. So this was rather impromptu, and I didn't give anybody a heads up as far as notification. Tried to send out a notification about 30 minutes ago. I don't think too many people got that notification though. So we may wait a few minutes before we get started. But just a few minutes, because obviously I'm going to have to get through quite a bit of news here. Already in the chat, though. Let's go ahead and check out the YouTube chat. Kevin Patel says, hi. How you doing, Kevin? Do you watch NFL DT? And my response to that was, who dat? Should tell you everything you need to know. And Kevin Patel answered, football? So, yes, I'm a New Orleans Saints fan. Have been my entire life. Remembered some of the really bad years. What was it, the 1980 or was it the 81 season where we went 1-15 and we wore the paper bags and we renamed the team the Aints? Yeah, let's do it live. I agree. The great Bill O'Reilly once said, F it, let's do it live. So, and that's kind of how I needed to do it too. So, yeah, you like the shirt? I just got home from work, which is why we're doing this live. So, yeah, so I've had a busy week at work, which is why I haven't done any videos the last couple of days. But of course, every Thursday I need to put out Taking Into Account. And I couldn't record it today. I couldn't record it this morning. Then I worked all day. Just getting home, it's kind of late here. It's already 8 o'clock in the evening. If I did a typical recording of this, it would take me a couple hours to record it, maybe an hour to edit it all. It would be nearly midnight before I get that thing published. I was like, you know what? I'm not going to go through all that trouble, all that work. We're just going to do it live. We record it live. However it turns out, and it's on YouTube forever. So, but that's me. I'm not scared. So, if any of you guys have ever seen some of my train wreck kind of live streams that I do, we don't care here at DT. We just do it. We just go with it. I did pick up a beverage, though, an adult beverage for this evening's Taking Into Account episode 39. This is just Blue Moon. Blue Moon's all right, though. Yeah, well, that outfit. I typically do dress kind of nice for work. Which is why, since so many videos, not all of them, a lot of times in the evening after work, I'll change into like a t-shirt or something on the videos, but oftentimes you guys catch me like in a nice button-up shirt. Not usually in a tie, sometimes in a tie though. Matter of fact, one of you guys on the last live stream actually made the comment, hey, when we're going to see a tie again? Which is funny because today it was tie day. It's like, yeah, let's see. Love the shirt. Appreciate it. Yeah. Let's see. Looking smart. Okay. Am I watching the draft? No, I'm not watching the draft. I mentioned I was a Saints fan. The Saints will not be picking. The Saints have one pick in the first 4 rounds, and I think the only pick they have is like number 62 in the draft. So, as far as for my team, there's not going to be any real excitement. So, yeah, the tie is slick. Appreciate you. What's your job? I work in retail. UFO over Blue Moon. You should try. I've tried UFO. I've tried every beer known to man. I used to work in the liquor industry. I worked at a liquor store. I actually managed a liquor store for several years. So I know all about beer and wine and whiskey and... Yeah, the Saints got robbed. Yeah, but that's one thing. Those of you that do follow the NFL, the rules have changed. Now they're going to make pass interference reviewable. So, something good will come out of it. Well, I say something good did come out of it because hopefully that situation won't happen again to some other team in the future. Yeah, I enjoy taking into account the live format, yeah. And I have done a couple of these live before. This isn't the first Taking Into Account that I haven't just found time to, because I need a block of about 4 hours usually to record this thing, and sometimes it's just quicker to do it live. And like the one I'm doing this evening, I just got home. I kind of had an idea of the stories I wanted to cover, but I really didn't research them or I really haven't spent any time. I don't script anything here on this channel. We just do it live. And I kind of like, this kind of format anyway, just me one-on-one with you guys. These kind of live streams typically go well for me. It's a strong suit of mine. Yeah, your Chiefs have no first round pick either, yeah. Might as well watch DT, I agree. Unless you're picking in the top 5, why bother watching, right? Alright, so again, impromptu, I only decided that I was going to do this live 30 minutes ago. Tried to send out YouTube notification. I don't know if any of you guys got that notification. I doubt it because no one was here prior to the stream starting. Like 3 people. That's unusual. So I don't expect too many folks got the notification, but hey, this is YouTube. YouTube is kind of broken. We all know that though. Yeah, do it live, Bill O'Reilly style. Yeah, if I didn't think I would get demonetized, I'd play the old Bill O'Reilly clip where he blows up and says, F it, we'll do it live. Yeah, I didn't get any notification until you went live. Yeah, I suspected that. Because usually as soon as I decide I'm going to do a live stream and I click the live streaming tab in YouTube and set a time, usually like within seconds, somebody will join the YouTube chat, waiting. And nobody did that this time, so I know no one really got the notification. Yeah, Toss was on, and then we all came here. That's right. Toss, Thursday night. Toss usually streams on Friday night. Well, Toss usually does multiple streams a week. But I know on Friday night, yeah, Toss is always on. It seems to be. Of course, I try to catch Toss as much as I can. You guys often ask me about YouTubers, which ones, do I catch? By the way, that was the YouTube chat here. I just logged into the IRC chat too. Those of you that want to check out DistroTube, hashtag DistroTube over on the freenode network. I'll be checking that out this evening. But as far as YouTubers that I do check out, because Toss always does something live, I do watch a lot of Total OS Today. And I do sometimes join him live on some of his programs. Because I always get his notifications. So usually the guys that do a lot of live stuff, I'll check out their stuff. Because I'll be on my computer and I'll get a notification and I'll just, click a tab open and have it open and listen while I'm working. So I catch a lot of Toss, EB, English Bob. Catch some of his streams. He loves, his gaming streams. Sudo Reboot, I sometimes catch some of his live streams. Back to the chat here for a second. And then give it a couple more minutes for people to join in, and then we'll get started with the show. Because this kind of format live will take a little longer, I'm probably not going to spend that much time on each of the 5 stories. Otherwise, we could be here all night. Typically, a recorded edition of Taking Into Account, I try to stick to about 30 minutes. If it goes a little longer, if it goes to 40 minutes, that's all right. I know doing it live, we're going to go at least an hour, probably over an hour, just covering the stories. So I may try to speed things up a little bit. Plus, we want to save time to interact with the chat. You guys are going to, want to hang out with me and ask questions and make comments. And of course, I want to interact with you guys. So we need to save some time for that. Yeah, Dustin says, funny, I was wondering if you would do a live Taking Into Account again earlier today. It has been a while since I did one of these live. There was a period of time, what was it, about 3 months ago or so, where I couldn't be here on Thursday. Like 2, maybe 3 weeks in a row. So I did them live, like the following Friday, for 3 weeks straight. So I did like 3 Taking Into Account straight, where they were these live editions. But I don't think I've done one since that. What model ThinkPad do you own? It's behind me. Hold on just a second. The one running C matrix, that is E535. So, let's see. Your cameras are out of sync. It's going to drive me nuts. Are they out of sync? You know what? I did unplug some cameras earlier. I can fix that, though, I bet. First of all, slightly out of sync. Slightly. I hope I don't kill the stream trying to fix it. Let's see. Okay, make sure that... Yeah, some of the stuff you guys never get to see. No, they're both YV12 emulated. Same frame rates. That might be the best I can get it, what it is. It's not that out of sync, though. I mean, it's just slightly. Yeah, I mean, it's very slightly. Now, I can play with the settings, and I can get the two different cameras very out of sync to where it's really jarring. But this, yeah, just waving my arms around, that's actually not too bad. That's pretty close. So, yeah, you guys are picky. Yeah, and Abu said, yeah, it's not that bad. You guys need to control your autism. I agree. I mean, this isn't like a professional Hollywood studio. I mean, I've got some decent equipment here, but that is better now, actually. That fixed it. Yeah, okay. Yeah. I had a pretty good idea what the problem might be. All right. Well, we probably should get started. Let's see, did anybody join the IRC when I mentioned it? Yeah, hello world. Brent F, hello world. I guess we have some programming questions. And I'm gonna... Oh, I can't type. All right. Yeah, my autism tells me that it's fixed. That's install Gentoo. Okay. It's better now. Not that it bothered me before. Okay. That anybody even noticed. Yeah, you'd be surprised the things people pick up. All right. So, I'm going to go ahead and get situated here, and we will actually get an intro here in just a second. A proper intro. Even though I'm not going to go back and re-edit this, I'm not going to cut anything. Do I even need to do my typical intro? I think I should. All right. So, on this edition of Taking Into Account, Scientific Linux is dead. Is that a good thing? One author claims it might be. Also, Red Hat's signature Fedora logo is to disappear from the headquarters tower on the 1st of May. Mozilla's 2019 Internet Health Report is out. It examines how humanity and the Internet intersect. Microsoft's third quarter 2019 revenue is up 14% on the back of strong cloud and Windows. Really? Ubuntu 19.10 development has started. Daily build ISO images are now available. We're going to discuss that. These are 5 stories I will be taking into account. All right, and the first story on the docket today is, of course, the big story. Scientific Linux is now dead. Is that a good thing? And I asked that not because I think it's a good thing, but there's a million stories about Scientific Linux no longer existing. But this guy, Brian Fagioli, an author I cover on Taking Into Account often over at Beta News, he writes good stuff. Scientific Linux is dead, and that's a good thing. And he says it as a fact. That's a good thing. Scientific Linux is no more. So first of all, Scientific Linux, what is it? Well, of course, it is a Linux distribution designed for scientific use. Scientific Linux, it was based off of RHEL, Red Hat Enterprise Linux. It's been maintained by some significant members of the scientific community, used in things like CERN, CERN. The company behind it that funded the project for many years was the Fermi National Accelerator Laboratory, and CERN, which I mentioned, also contributed. So, Scientific Linux is going away. Why? Because it's not really needed anymore. It was based on Red Hat. Why not just save some money, use Red Hat or the free alternative to Red Hat, CentOS, which is really what's going on. So I'm going to read a brief quote here. Quote, toward that end, we will deploy CentOS 8 in our scientific computing environments rather than develop scientific Linux 8. We will collaborate with CERN and other labs to make CentOS an even better platform for high-energy physics computing. So we're going to quit developing scientific Linux. Instead, we're going to focus on CentOS 8 and just bringing all those scientific applications, everything we needed in scientific Linux, just get that ported over to CentOS. Why do all this duplication of effort? And that's going to be the point of view from Brian Fagioli here over at Beta News, is we have too many Linux distributions. Now, I wouldn't say I think we have too many distributions, but I do hate seeing a duplication of effort. Now, scientific Linux is not a duplication of effort. They were doing something really unique. They were creating a Linux distribution specifically for science applications, in particular physics. And that was very unique. That made sense. What I don't like is duplication of effort, where we have 20 different Ubuntu-based Linux distributions, all using the XFCE desktop environment. All of them basically ship with the same desktop environment and the same suite of apps out of the box. Maybe some different wallpaper, slightly different theming. That's duplication of effort. Most of those distributions just need to go away. Scientific Linux, though, it never struck me as duplication of effort or a distro that just needed to go away. But again, I wasn't a user, obviously, of scientific Linux. And because both Red Hat and CentOS exist, it's no big deal that scientific Linux is going away, because it's still going to exist. It's just going to be in a different form. Instead, it's going to be CentOS with all those scientific Linux-based applications. Also, the companies behind it that were developing scientific Linux still going to be contributing. Now they're going to be contributing to this new scientific Linux-y CentOS version 8. So all in all, I don't think this is that big of a story, although there must have been 100 different news articles about this in the last couple of days. Scientific Linux is dead. And back to the chat for a second. We'll keep these kind of short and brief tonight to get through them, hopefully, in under an hour, at least the news portion. Yeah, science died before scientific Linux. Science is alive and well. I don't see... not sure where you're going with that. That was Harry here in the chat. I think those scientific distributions are literally just forks with some random programs that a few scientists use pre-installed. Yeah. I mean, there's no reason to create your own Linux distribution when, you know, it was based off of Red Hat anyway. So you got Red Hat and CentOS, both Red Hat operating systems. Just use one of those. Put those applications you need on one of those. Yeah, Total OS today. We were just talking about you, Toss. DT with the beard. You look like a white supremacist. Thank you, Toss. Appreciate that. I think. I don't know where you're going with that. We might actually talk about some white supremacist news, though, in a future story here tonight. So stay tuned. It won't be involving me, though. Yeah, the Linux news sites are pretty lame. It's lucky DT curates it for us. Yeah, I could have picked, like I said, literally 100 different articles about scientific Linux. The only reason I picked that particular article from Beta News is because I often do read Brian Fagioli's stories here on Taking Into Account. You guys have heard me mention his name many times. And I thought this was an odd title. It's clickbait. Clearly clickbait, right? Scientific Linux is dead, and that's a good thing. Let me go back. I mean, look at that. That is clickbait if I've ever seen it. But again, everybody's writing an article about this. You want people to read your particular article about this, you kind of have to give it that clickbait. And it seems to work when you do a search about scientific Linux in the news. His article tends to come up at or near the top. So it's what you got to do. Put food on the table, I guess. I'm not above doing a little clickbait every now and then. You guys know that. I don't do it that often, but, you know, whenever. Now, let me head back to the IRC channel just to see what's going on here. Yeah, Janice is in the chat. Yo, yo, DT. What up, what up? All right. Yeah, somebody's playing around with a bash script. There's some real nerds that hang out in the DistroTube IRC. A lot of programming talk, a lot of server talk, and other things that I probably shouldn't get on camera. Let's see. Gentoo is great if you know what you're getting into. Once it is up and running, it's great and stable. I bet it is. The compilation in Gentoo can be annoying. I know that to be a fact. Yeah, the comments. Yeah, from the article, yeah. He mentions, I guess, the comments at the bottom of Beta News. Yeah, I didn't even bother reading those. I can imagine, especially from the clickbait title, what kind of response he got. Yeah, the comments. From my personal perspective, several Linux desktops need a funeral. Was that actually from Brian Fagioli here? Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, I'm not sure if that was actually in the article or not, but it wouldn't shock me. That's where he was going with that comment, though. I could agree with that. I could agree with there's some Linux distributions out there that serve no real purpose, and nobody would miss them if they were gone. But again, Scientific Linux was not that at all. So, what is my IRC client? That is IRC. IRC, IRSSI. Standard IRC chat client. It's been around forever. It's a terminal-based IRC client. You can find configs for it all over the internet on GitHub, GitLab, different themes for it. I've been using IRC forever, so I just stick to it. Another alternative, if you wanted a terminal-based IRC client, would be WeChat. WeChat works just fine. Of course, there's many good GUI IRC clients. HexChat is probably the most popular one. If you're on a KDE distro like Rocco over at Big Daddy, hi Rocco, if you like Plasma, Conversation with a K is a great IRC client. And right on time, there's Rocco waving. Yeah, Brian Fagioli sounds Italian. He could be. I don't know. Never met him personally. Haven't talked to him. Yeah, what's up, DT? How are you? What up, what up? Doing well. Been a long day at work. Just got home. Was running out of time to get this recorded, so I didn't even try to record taking into account episode 39. We're just going to do it live. But again, to get through this in a timely fashion, we do have to keep going here, so. And the second story on the docket tonight is Red Hat's signature Fedora logo is to disappear from the headquarters tower on the 1st of May. So, this story actually just broke today, I think, when I first noticed it, was this morning, is the Red Hat signature Fedora logo. You can see at the top of their headquarters, their tower here, red sign with the Red Hat font, and of course the signature Fedora, red Fedora. Apparently, they're going to do some rebranding a little bit. Now, those of you that have been following Linux news in the last few months, you guys know that Red Hat was recently purchased by IBM. So, according to Rick Smith here, the author here, 3 things are certain in business: financial success, financial death or merger, and a corporate logo change. Red Hat, now age 26, is no different. So in the true sign of changing times, Red Hat is not only on its way with merging with IBM, but more apparent and more immediate, is also on the verge of removing its red Fedora logo from the 19th-story downtown headquarters in Raleigh. So that sign is going away. Why? I can tell you, I have read the article. Nobody really knows exactly why it's going away. Is it because folks at IBM maybe want to do some rebranding? Is this IBM kind of overstepping its bounds with Red Hat? I don't know. I don't think anybody really knows. It could be something that the Red Hat guys actually do say some of this was planned well before IBM bought the company. So a spokesman for Red Hat says the company is, quote, evolving. Its logo, which dates back to the days of the Linux open source software cloud and services firm launched in 1993. So Red Hat launched, 26 years ago. And it's time for a change, which I can understand. Sometimes you just need to reboot. You need a refresh. We talked a few weeks ago on taking into account about Linux Mint, how they needed to do some rebranding. They created a new Linux Mint logo, new Linux Mint website, and it really needed it. Linux Mint looks dated as hell. The operating system, the website, everything about it looks old and kind of tired. Red Hat didn't strike me as looking out of date, old, or tired, but I don't hate that they want to, tweak some things. So, will Red Hat actually remain red, or because they recently merged with Big Blue, IBM, or are we going to see maybe a blue fedora, or what exactly are they going to do? Well, Red Hat is in the name. Surely they're not going to change color, but I don't know. Not exactly sure what they're going to do. Why not just stick with the classic red fedora look? Again, nobody in the article mentions it, but I'm going to throw something out there. Total OS today mentioned something about white supremacists. Does that Red Hat here in the U.S., because they're based out of Raleigh, does that Red Hat remind you of anything you've seen at certain political rallies? How about these Make America Great Again hats? Does the red fedora and the Make America Great Again cap look a little too similar, maybe for Red Hat's taste? I don't know. Just throwing that out there. But that's me, my conspiracy theories. But we're not going to get on that this week, since I got in trouble last week talking about conspiracy theories. Back to the chat. Alright, what did I miss in the chat, guys? Sorry. Of course, I'm not going to be able to keep up with the chat, of course, while I'm doing the stories, but I will try to go back a little bit here. Yeah, IBM decision could be part of, but again, according to the Red Hat guys, they say it's something that's kind of been in the works before IBM got involved, so it may not be IBM pushing them to do this. I'm insanely curious how IBM will change Red Hat, as far as Red Hat as a company or Red Hat as a distribution. Probably not much. Red Hat is very profitable. If IBM was smart, they would just let those guys keep doing what they were doing. There's no reason to try to fix something that's not broken. That's the way I see it. And I would assume IBM would be smart enough not to fix something that is just making tons of money, as is. Yeah, we already have a blue fedora. It's fedora, yeah. Purple fedora? Yeah, rainbow fedora, huh? Sign of the times. But the Red Hat logo looks so spicy, I would agree. Matter of fact, that billboard there at the top of their tower, yeah, that looks fantastic. I love it. As far as branding, I think it's great. Red is, a nice color as far as it's eye-catching, right? It's jarring. Back to the YouTube chat. I'll quickly try to catch up here. Change it to a black hat. You probably couldn't do that. For one thing, just for advertising purposes, branding purposes, you don't want to have too much black or too much white. Again, you want to have something to catch the eye. Let's see. Make IBM great again. I don't think anybody can do that. I don't think IBM will never be what it was decades ago. Yeah, cue the Twilight Zone music, says Rocco. Yeah. Sleepy Eyes Vince. Hi, DT. Hi, all. How you doing, Vince? And we have some Brave browser discussions. I've never used Brave myself, so I don't have any comments about that, but you guys seem to like it. STS Tech. How you doing, Mark? Hello, kind sir. I just got back from my church, and I love my church family, quite frankly. How you doing, buddy? I'm doing fine, Mark. Thanks for asking. Let's see. Back to the IRC chat. Any interesting thing? No, it looks like the last thing people were talking about was SSH. Wow, what a fascinating discussion you guys are having in the IRC channel. So, all right, let's keep this party started. Or rolling. Whatever. You guys know what I'm talking about. All right. And the third story on the docket tonight is some rather lengthy documentation that, quite frankly, we don't have time to cover. Even if I was going to dedicate it like a 2-hour show to this, we couldn't. But Mozilla, this is the third year in a row they've done this. They recently released their 2019 Internet Health Report. Basically, this is their annual open source report. It examines how, quote, humanity and the internet intersect. And basically how internet and the web dominates our lives, influences our lives, how safe the internet is as far as security, as far as privacy. The report talks about many areas of the internet where maybe technology kind of oversteps its bounds. So I'm going to basically focus on the cover page here, basically the overall summary of what the report is. I'm not going to dive into the report itself, but today Mozilla published the 2019 Internet Health Report, our third annual examination of the internet, its impact on society, how it influences our everyday lives. Some interesting facts here is that now more than 50% of us are online. More than 50% of humanity is connected to the internet. That is a milestone, so that hasn't been the case until just very recently. So now more than half of the planet Earth is online. Is that a good thing? As more and more of us are connected, is that a good thing? I guess it could be, but I don't know. The more and more you hear things like the report mentions the Facebook Cambridge Analytica scandal that unfolded, the privacy scandals, millions of people are realizing that their, quote, widespread laissez-faire sharing of personal data and the massive growth and centralization of the tech industry and the misuse of online ads and social media, it's adding up to a big mess. And I completely agree with this. I've always been kind of a Luddite, somebody, I wouldn't say I fear technology, but I don't like technology encroaching into our everyday lives, encroaching on our privacy and security and all that. So the report, the 2019 Internet Health Report, has basically 3 spotlight articles, 3 big issues that they want to focus on. The first one examines the need for better machine decision making. So basically, who's creating the algorithms for these things? AI and stuff like that. What does the data do? What data do they feed on? Who is being discriminated against? That is something that really needs to be addressed. So another article also examines the way we need to rethink the ad economy. So advertising. So basically, the ad economy right now relies on surveillance and addiction. Those are necessities to make money with ad revenue. It's how Google, the biggest advertiser on the planet, makes all their money, is basically through surveillance and to make sure you're addicted to all their services. Facebook, especially. Facebook knows that social networking is highly addictive. They're profiting off that to serve more ads to those people that are addicted to Facebook. The third spotlight article examines the rise of smart cities and how local governments can integrate tech in a way that serves the public good, not commercial interest. Now, I would agree with that too. There are calls for privacy that are becoming more mainstream, so more and more people know that the internet is a train wreck. More and more people are coming to that conclusion. More and more people are jumping off things like Facebook. You're starting to see it now. A year ago, it was kind of slow, but now you're seeing stuff in the news and people on social networks especially starting to talk about how out of control some of this stuff has gotten. There's a movement to build more responsible AI, and there's also questions about the impact of big tech and how big tech is growing. So we all know the internet is controlled really by just a handful of large corporations. The internet basically is run by Google. Google controls the internet. If you want to extend that a little further, some companies that have pretty good control of the internet, Facebook controls a large portion of the internet, Microsoft, Apple. So, I mean, uh, internet censorship is flourishing. That's another thing the report focuses on, is internet censorship, particularly governments. Certain governments, have major censorships in place. China, for example, we all know that. How do you get around it? Well, increasingly because of things like Tor, for example. There are ways to get around some of that government censorship. So biometrics are being abused. I don't know much about this as far as how biometrics are being abused. I haven't really read into what they're talking about here, but reading a little bit. When large swaths of a population don't have access to physical IDs, digital ID systems have to have the potential to make a positive difference. But in practice, digital ID schemes often benefit heavy-handed governments and private actors, not the individuals. And they mention a case in India where over 1 billion citizens were put at risk by a vulnerability in a government's biometric ID system. Okay. IE is simplifying injustice. That's interesting. Now, I'm not going to read the very lengthy report. I actually wasn't even going to click on it, but I just want to click on this tab here in the report. Is it safe? Is the internet safe? And maybe just pick one topic. So understand the issue about privacy and security. Yeah, ransomware. You guys know I got into Linux to get away from ransomware. That is one of, so I normally would read that, but one that sticks out to me that's kind of odd is 23 reasons not to reveal your DNA. I've got to click on that. So in the report here, 23 reasons not to reveal your DNA for privacy and security reasons. Let's see. Number 1, the results may not be accurate. Okay, makes sense. Number 2, heritage tests are less precise if you don't have European roots. So if you're white, European descent, you might be okay on the test. Otherwise, if you're African or Asian, you may not get good results at all. So your DNA says nothing about your culture. Yeah, we know that. Number 4, racists are weaponizing the results. Racists are weaponizing. Well, that's an interesting one. So according to the article, white nationalists have flocked to commercial DNA companies to vie for the highest race purity points on extremist websites. Yeah, but who cares what racists do? Well, white supremacists, or not just any racist organization, whether it be white supremacists, black supremacists, whatever. Who cares what those people do? What they do with the DNA results? Yeah, I'm not sure why I should care about that. But anyway, that's one of their points. DNA tests can't be anonymous. You make a good point there. Obviously, you can't take a DNA test and remain anonymous, but how do you get around that? I'm not sure if you could, to be honest. I'm not sure how you answered that one. I'm not going to read the other 23 points, but anyway, this is pretty interesting. I've never actually considered the reasons not to reveal your DNA, but a lot of people are into this. I've had family members that, take these DNA tests with the Heritage site and some of the other various sites. It's big business, billion-dollar industry now is in these DNA testings, but apparently they're not real accurate, and obviously for privacy reasons, you probably shouldn't be doing this. Back to the YouTube chat. All right, let's see what I missed here. Yeah, I was a Firefox user for a long time, but switched to Chromium when I needed to do a lot of stuff with Flash. Yeah, but Flash is dead now. Come back to Firefox. People finally caught on when we all left Firefox, and people just don't know what to use because Google Chrome tracks even more. Yeah. Yeah, I personally, just on principle, wouldn't use Google Chrome myself. But you guys that use it and love it or have to use it, hey, use what works. Yeah, Internet Explorer is the #1 browser used to visit Mozilla download pages. That is probably true. So I use WaterFox and Chromium in Linux alongside Opera and Vivaldi. I have both Chromium and Vivaldi, I think, installed on my system, mainly for Hangouts, and occasionally just to see what a website looks, on the Chromium engine. It doesn't make sense, if you're building a website to only view it in Firefox. You might want to check it out and make sure it works on those other web engines. So, if you're a racist, it's a bad thing to be. You don't want to be racist. It's bad. public service announcement there from STS Tech. Thank you, Mark. Yeah. There are many reasons, DT. Many reasons, I'm assuming, for not doing the DNA testing that I was talking about. Probably, yeah. Yeah, links over any other browser. I agree, Carl. You're wise beyond your years. Retro Game Plus. Glad to see doing it live, DT. Love your channel. Keep up the great work. Thank you, Retro Game Plus. And Rocco, Big Daddy Linux. Derek, what do you think about Firefox going to be enabling the ping option by default in future versions? I hadn't heard of that. First I've heard of it. Thanks for letting me know about that, Rocco. Oh yeah, that's just smart. Square one, yeah. And of course, Michael, Tux Digital. How you doing, Michael? I would do the DNA test if a hospital did it and it was locked under HIPAA, but these companies apparently don't have to deal with that. There are some laws in place, depending on what country you're in. Here in the US, I don't think there's anybody really regulating it, to be honest. I know in certain European countries, you can actually be fined for doing a DNA test if you're not actually qualified to do such a test. I'm not sure about the US, though. Being proud of your heritage is not racism. You have a point. But again, it's kind of hard to delineate, exactly where just being proud and being a jackass kind of starts. So, somewhere on that spectrum, yeah, it's okay to use FreeDOS. I guess it's okay. I'm not sure what you could do with FreeDOS. For nostalgia purposes, I guess. And of course, Rocco gives me the link to Mozilla plans to enable hyperlink ping tracking. Okay. Yeah, what do I think about that? Yeah, I'm not real happy about that, Rocco. Thanks for giving me the article to read. Yeah. Chrome users may install ping blocker. Yeah, but the Chrome users already know that they're being tracked. We expect better as Firefox users, quite frankly. So that's disappointing. Yeah, isn't Vivaldi based on Opera? Vivaldi uses the same web engine that Chromium uses. Vivaldi, the guy that started Vivaldi, was one of the original devs that started Opera way back in the day. Is the connection with Vivaldi and Opera. Yeah, DNA sequencing isn't dangerous right now. Technology changes, though, yeah? Yeah, uranium isn't all that dangerous until you can refine it. Vivaldi is based on Chromium, but developed by the original Opera dev. Yeah, Vince is on top of things there. Thank you, Vince. Yeah, even if Mozilla doesn't add ping support, the same can be done via JavaScript. Really no big deal. Just makes it more transparent. Yep. All right, so let's keep it rolling here, guys. If I can. So the next story on the docket is interesting because does it really have anything to do with Linux? I guess it kind of does. One of the biggest open source companies on the planet, Microsoft. Their third quarter revenue was up 14%. Microsoft, in no danger of going broke. Microsoft, one of the richest companies on the planet. I think their last valued estimation a month or two ago I read was somewhere around $700 billion is what Microsoft has. So their third quarter revenue up 14% on the back of strong cloud revenue and Windows? Seriously, Windows blew my mind. Probably blew your mind too. So the PC market declined, but the Windows market oddly did not. So, reading here, quote, in the third quarter of the 2019 financial year, which ran up until March 31st, Microsoft's revenue was $30.6 billion, up 14% year on year. Operating income was up 25%. Net income up 19%. Earnings per share up 20%. We could read the rest of the stats. It's very lengthy, but Microsoft's making a ton of money. What are they making money on? Well, they're making money on Azure, but we don't know how much because Microsoft will not give us hard metrics on Azure. For some reason, they're scared to tell us exactly what they're making off of Azure, maybe because they think it's not that much, or maybe it's not as much as they would like, but they make some money with Azure, obviously. But the point of the article, they still make money with Windows. They make a lot of money with some of their commercial Office products, a lot of money. So the service revenue for Office products was up 12%. Consumer revenue up 8%. Dynamics revenue up 13%. Dynamics 365 revenue up 43%. And shockingly, LinkedIn revenue was up 27%. Interesting. So Office 365, the seats for Office 365 is up 27%, more than 180 million monthly active users for Office 365. So Microsoft is making a lot of money through services, right? And through subscription services. Less and less money about selling you a operating system, whether desktop, server, mobile. Though we should talk about mobile. Surface revenue also grew 21% to over $1.3 billion. You don't hear that much about Surface, like the Surface tablets and stuff, but Microsoft continues to make money on those. I was in Best Buy the other day, and I noticed Best Buy has the Surface tablets, like they have an end cap, displaying the Microsoft Surface tablets, so people do buy them, and I've been seeing that for months in Best Buy, so I'm sure Microsoft rents that space, of course, in these Best Buy stores. So Microsoft is making quite a bit of money. Is this a good thing? The fact that Microsoft is still a giant corporation. I mean, the richest company on the planet is Apple. Apple just crossed the $1 trillion mark just a few months ago. Microsoft is not that far behind. Microsoft, again, like I said, the last time I read an article where somebody tried to put a value on it, around $700 billion. So they're getting up there toward that $1 trillion mark. Microsoft is, again, one of the biggest contributors to the Linux kernel, to open source software. I mean, I complain about Microsoft all the time, and I complain about Google all the time, and these companies that have so much money and too much control, quite frankly, of the internet and computing. But in many ways, we're tied to them. They basically fund kernel development, Microsoft and Google, and Facebook. Facebook has a member on the board. Somebody that works at Facebook is on the board at the Linux Foundation. Think about that. I think Microsoft has somebody on the board too. And I'm certain Google does. Probably Intel does as well. And back to the YouTube chat. Windows is a disease, yes. Oh, Sleepy Eyes Vince says Microsoft hit the $1 trillion market cap yesterday, so they already got there. Yeah, we knew it was coming. Yeah. So, $1 trillion company, Microsoft, got there slightly behind Apple. Yeah. But that's the story of Microsoft. They're always behind Apple on everything. Apple creates a trash bin in the old Mac OS on the Macintosh computers back in the 90s. Microsoft comes out with Windows 95 and they create the innovative recycle bin. I'm not gonna lie, so long as I have been shut up, wait, what? I'll take a Surface. You'll take a Microsoft Surface tablet. I would take one too, if somebody was giving it to me. I don't know if I'd buy one. Can you please start doing more live streams? Says Evan. You guys keep asking that. Yes, I would like to. Time permitted, I would like to do more of these. Life commitments though, Evan. Life commitments. I wish the only thing I had to do was this YouTube channel. Wish it paid the bills and I could just sit here and just do this every day. Sadly, life. I gotta go to the job, right? The old job. The Linux Foundation doesn't really matter. Yeah. Well, they pay Linus Torvalds' salary. I guess that kind of matters. But I guess they don't matter to us, the Linux desktop consumer, if you will. Yeah, Surface tablets look nice. I'd buy one for $130, but they aren't $130. Yeah, for $130, I'd buy one too. or any decent tablet for $130. A Surface or a Chromebook. I would probably take the Chromebook, to be honest. That's just me. And Linus saying, what does it matter if people use free software if they all use closed web apps like Facebook? Well, not all of us use things like Facebook. Obviously, I am not on Facebook or Twitter or anything like that. YouTube is, I guess, technically the only social media I'm on that kind of counts. But YouTube's not really social media the way Facebook and Twitter are. There is a social aspect to it. You guys can comment on videos, and obviously when I'm live streaming, you guys can talk to me. But that's not the main reason we're here. The main reason we're here is I'm making a video and you're watching it. That's really. We could turn off the chat. I could disable the chat. You guys would probably still watch the video, and I would still be here to make the video. We're not here to, interact like we would on Facebook and Twitter. But if you want to be technical about it, YouTube, I guess, counts as social media. And Mitchell says, kernel development has become more murky. And you should make a YouTube poll to find out how many of your subscribers use social media, Facebook and Twitter. I would expect over 90% of you guys to use either Facebook or Twitter or both. Even though I rail against those platforms, I understand that I am a very small minority. Many of you guys feel like you have to be on Facebook because of family and friends pressuring you. Some people are affected by that. I'm not. I have family and friends that ask me, hey, what's your Facebook? Why aren't you on Facebook? But I tell them I don't use Facebook and I don't ever plan on using Facebook. And that's the end of the conversation. Then they, okay, well, what's your phone number? What's your email? If they want to talk to you, they'll get in touch with you. It's not like you're just going to lose all your friends if you don't have Facebook. We all talk to each other before Facebook ever existed. Before the internet existed, you communicated with friends and family. You called them. You knew their phone number. They were in driving distance. You just go to their house. You don't have to tweet, like every 5 minutes, the way people do now. People are at the restaurant and they get a notification on their phone. Oh, the latest tweet. I've got to read it. Interrupting the meal we're having. Hate it. Hate it. The smartphone has really ruined our lives. Nobody has etiquette anymore. Just the phone is ringing. I have to answer it. I get a notification. I have to read it right then. No, you don't. You didn't have to do that before cell phones existed. You don't have to do that now. Yeah, you will lose your fake friends, but that's a plus. The fake friend, well, that's again, I've said this many times, those are not real friends on Facebook anyway. The family and friends that you know in real life are real friends. But the other people, they're not real friends. They're just pixels on a screen. You've never met them. You never will meet them. Yeah, Michael, Tux Digital. Hey, gotta go for a second. I got messages on Mastodon to check. I don't even check my Mastodon notifications like that, though. I don't turn on notifications on my desktop, and I don't have the Mastodon app on my phone, because I don't want that stuff to come up and, interrupt what I'm doing. Like if I'm at work, I'm on a project and I've got something I gotta do, the last thing I need to be is distracted. For what? For somebody, over on Mastodon tooting a picture of their new kitten. Appreciate the super chat there. So, Silent Scion, love the username. Hey, I learned a lot from your vids. Thanks. Appreciate that, Silent. Much appreciated. James, I'm 16 and I have the exact same social life as I did before I deleted all social media. In my experience, it is totally worth it. Actually, it's better without. Once you get off social media, you'd be surprised how much better you feel. That is not a joke. Social media is harmful to your health. We've discussed this many times before on the channel too, so. let's not get sidetracked just yet, because one more story I want to briefly cover here. And the fifth story, of course, is the fact that Ubuntu 19.10 development has started. Today, the 19.10 development branch is out there. Daily build ISOs are now available for your downloading pleasure. So last week, of course, we covered the big releases, the 1904 releases of Ubuntu. Disco Dingo, greatest name ever. Ubuntu 19.10, the daily builds are out. What's new? Nothing. The initial 19.10 daily builds are basically 1904. There's no new development. We just had 1904 released like days ago. Nothing new yet. But you go ahead, you move to the development branch. Why would you want to do this? It's because there will be new features eventually pushed out, new programs. If you want to be part of the beta testing, even though they don't really release betas, this is, if you want to jump on now, you're perfectly fine too. Another reason why people immediately will jump on to the 19.10 development branch is because some of you guys like rolling release distros, and some of you guys like Ubuntu. What if you want both? Well, how do you get a rolling Ubuntu? Well, to get a rolling Ubuntu, what you need to do is always stay on the development branch. You get on 19.10 right now, and it's just rolling along until eventually 19.10 will be released in October. And then within a week or 2 weeks at the most after that, the 2004 development branch will be out. Then you just get on that. So you just rolling along with Ubuntu. So it's not exactly a rolling release Ubuntu, but it's quasi-rolling Ubuntu. And the Ubuntu development branch is pretty stable. It's not rock solid stable. You may have breakages. You may have some minor things break. Hopefully nothing big. You shouldn't have, the old kernel panic. Xorg shouldn't break on you, but you never know. So I don't recommend you guys do this on production machines, but if you want to, it's an option. So Ubuntu 1904 arrived last week, and it was a big success, according to the article, and I would agree. All the coverage about the main edition, the flagship edition of Ubuntu 1904 was the greatest thing ever. As far as the GNOME desktop, maybe the best ever. GNOME 3.32 seems a lot snappier, faster. I tested it out in a VM, and that thing just was amazing. Menus just opened up immediately, and I have never seen that with GNOME on Ubuntu or any other distro. And RAM usage was like 600 megs and some change. That was unusual for a GNOME Linux distribution as well. So 1904 seems like it was a big hit for Canonical. Unfortunately, 1904, not too many people are going to use it because it is an interim release. It's only supported for 9 months. It's not an LTS. The next LTS will be 2004. 1910 will not be an LTS either. 1910 will be an interim release. Can you expect any major shocking changes in 1910? Probably not, because 1910, of course, is going to lead us into 2004, the LTS. So expect 1910 probably to focus a lot more on bug fixes, stability, performance, the nuts and bolts. Canonical is not about to do some major rearranging of the desktop or anything like that. 1910 will basically be 2004, a testing ground for 2004 is basically typically what that third interim release before the LTS is. Back to the chat for a second. And you guys that have tried out Ubuntu 1904 with the GNOME desktop especially, am I imagining things? Or for you guys, have you noticed it being faster, more responsive? The GNOME desktop environment especially. We may talk about some of the other editions here, chatting. Let's see. Yeah, I prefer to have friends over drinking beer and eating peanuts and shooting the breeze and catching up with life. Better than Facebook, 100%. Yes, Facebook is not even real human interaction. Ubuntu 1904 is awesome. Yeah. Ubuntu's always awesome, though. Yeah, big up Canonical for fixing GNOME. Well, I don't know if Canonical fixed GNOME. I think GNOME fixed GNOME. I think GNOME is just getting better. GNOME had a rough start. GNOME 3 did. But it's gradually evolved. to being a usable desktop environment, even for somebody like me. I don't like GNOME, I don't like the workflow, but I could use it now. There's no way I could have used it in those early versions of GNOME 3. It was impossible. Yeah, LXQt is evolving so quickly, yeah. Well, it's kind of a new project, so you would expect fast development with something like LXQt and with Budgie, a newer desktop environment, whereas something that's kind of old and been around forever, like XFCE, doesn't see much development at all because XFCE is kind of feature complete, right? It does what it's designed to do, and it does it well. So, yeah, we didn't talk about the E. Yeah. So Ubuntu 19.10, of course, will be the E animal. What's the animal? We don't know. We do know the adjective, eon. What does that mean? What? I should pull that up in Wiktionary. Eon. I think it has something to do with of or pertaining to the dawn or the rising sun or something like that. I'm not even going to Google it. I'm pretty sure that's what it means. As far as the animal, what do we have? Options for E. Somebody mentioned emu. Obviously, eagle would make sense. I don't know. What other? I may have to Google E animals. Matter of fact, let's see what our options are. Animals with an E. Eagle. Earwig. Oh, we got to do earwig. That would be great. Eon earwig. Electric eel. Yeah, but that's two words. Then it would be Eon electric eel. Be the triple E. All right. Gotta go with the earwig. All right. What the hell is an earwig? Isn't it an insect? Let's get some images. Yeah, so here's the earwig. Yeah, it looks, it's just a bug. That's all. Just a bug. All right. Back to the chat. Catch up on some of the chat. Let's see. The Unity HUD was criminally underrated. I would agree. Unity, the desktop environment, was fantastic. The best full desktop environment ever, in my opinion. I don't like full desktop environments. I don't use them. I don't run them. I did run Unity for years on one of my laptops, and I liked it. I liked it a lot. I hate that Unity is not really being developed, so. You never had anything more than 720p before. I'm not sure who you're talking to there, Mark. I've always streamed in 1080. I don't think I've ever done a 720 stream. Let's see. Steve's very own. How you doing, Steve? Aren't you the well-dressed man? It's kind of my typical work clothes. So I was working all day, and I needed to get this recorded. Typically, me actually pre-recording this stuff and editing it and everything that I typically do on these taking into account episodes takes me 3 to 4 hours, and it's late in the day. I'm tired. I'm off work. I'm like, you know what? Let's just do it live. Doing it live, at least I don't actually have to do any video editing at all. So as soon as I click the stop streaming button, it's on YouTube. Whatever happened, happened. Mistakes, flubs, anything I said that maybe I shouldn't have, it's there. We can't take it back if it's live. Yeah, emu or eel would be good. Yeah, I imagine they would do. Maybe emu. Would make sense. I don't want one of those in my ear, thank you very much. Yeah. EON earwig. File a bug. Very good. Hey DT, what kind of music are you into? Well, in my car, I typically listen to classic rock. Typically, like 80s music, 70s music, even go back into the 60s. Anything it past about 1990, I don't want to listen to. But my favorite genre of music is classical. You guys, most of you know that I'm a classically trained musician. So, have a couple of degrees in music performance. Trombone is the main instrument that I play. So, I tried Void last week on my X220 and boot up was slower than with Arch. Same programs with systemd. Yeah, but Arch uses systemd, Void doesn't, so the different init system will cause that. For example, Gentoo-based distributions, just throwing this out there, I noticed Sabian boots up quite fast with systemd because Sabian uses systemd. Most Gentoo-based Linux distributions, like Calculate, for example, use OpenRC, and they take longer to boot up. Is it a big deal? Not to me. A few seconds, you know. Yeah, Michael, Tux Digital, he agrees with me about Unity. Yeah, Unity was fantastic. Unity got everything right. As far as workflow, just the layout, because you had the global menu at the top. You know, originated in that top left corner. You had the dock on the side, on the left, with the launcher in the top left. And then when your browser was full screen or anything was full screen, the window control buttons were on the left, the top left. Everything was in that one corner, and it made sense. You never had to travel across the screen with your mouse, ever. And it just makes sense when you see that and you start using it, and you wonder why no one else thought of that. So, yeah, when are the Linux kernel team going to mainline support for the Nintendo Wii drum kit? Yeah, you need to file a bug report about that, Harry. What do you think if I install a backdoor each and every Windows computer in the university to send them a message, never use Windows except only GNU/Linux that can fix their problems? If you can hack into those machines, I'd say go for it. Yeah. Abu, listen to Bach. He is the greatest composer of all time. I have every piece of music Bach ever wrote. I'm talking about recordings of them, not the sheet music to everything. I would need a library to have all of Bach's sheet music. He wrote that much music. Seriously. It is estimated that a modern-day copyist, if he had to write all of Bach's music by hand today, it would take somebody an estimated 70 years to just copy by hand all of Bach's music. How the hell did Bach write all of that? It's one of those things, yeah. Harry, trombone, wow, yeah. What is your favorite composer? Who knows? As far as some of the ones I like, Bach is actually one of my favorites. Somebody mentioned Bach, but as a trombone player, of course, I like good trombone parts, loud trombone parts. So you get into the Romantic era, Wagner, German composer, Richard Wagner, you know, the big operas and the preludes. The Ride of the Valkyries is great. You know, The Ring. Yeah, are you a fan of Tchaikovsky? Tchaikovsky's great. Italian composers. Giuseppe Verdi. I love Verdi. The Verdi Requiem Mass is fantastic. Great trombone parts in that thing. Yeah, Shostakovich is great. Yeah, all the Russian composers are good. Shostakovich, the symphonies are great. I love Shostakovich, the Fifth Symphony. Bum 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 bum, ba-da-dum bum bum. Yeah, polyphony is the aesthetically superior form of music. It's a form of music. I don't know if anything is technically superior. Then, you know, it's like anything else. You take something one day, you do something else the next day. It's like drinking the same beer every day. You guys know I don't do it. It's not because one's better than the other. Well, you get tired of the same thing all the time. I love Bach, but you can't listen to Bach all day, every day. That would get old quick. Beethoven is a nice change-up. NZ Diplomat says Beethoven is the best. Beethoven is great. Love the symphonies. 3 of his symphonies actually included trombones. The 5th, the 6th, and the 9th. Little bit of music trivia. Beethoven was the first composer to actually include the trombone in his symphonies. The 5th Symphony, the famous Beethoven's 5th, the first symphony by a major composer to actually include a trombone section. Yeah, and of course, NZ Diplomat, I assume you're a pianist since you love Chopin and Liszt. Grieg, yeah. And a lot of you guys like Wagner, Brahms, all good choices. And Anna Rita, am I a musician in my career? No, I work in retail. I do teach some private lessons occasionally. But I don't teach in like public schools or anything. Not these days. I have in the past. Yeah, Tux Digital. I like classical as well, but certainly not as well versed. I listen to classical and opera, but I have no idea what I'm listening to just on random. Yeah. And Vladimir is asking me about the composer Jan Sandstrom. I assume you're asking me about his motorbike concerto, performed by Christian Lindbergh, the greatest trombonist in the world. I've seen that performed live by Christian Lindbergh with the Cincinnati Symphony. I actually took a CD copy of that. Christian Lindbergh has a CD recording of that, and I took it to the symphony when I went and heard him perform that, and I met him after the concert and got him to actually autograph the CD for me. Yeah, you should do some classical music trivia vids. I could do a lot with classical music on YouTube if I wanted to go that direction. Classical music is challenging to my little head. It can be. It challenges you in a, like typically pop music is very repetitive. As far as chords, chord progressions, it's very simple, right? You listen to a pop song, a 3-minute pop song, and it's the standard chord progression over and over again, same lyrics over and over again. You hear it once, you kind of know what it's all about. The next time it plays on the radio, you're singing along with it. It's that simple. You're not going to get that with most classical music. You have to work a little bit to understand classical music. It's like those of you that are readers and you like to read fiction. Some authors are very easy to understand. You read and it's just very easy to get into, and some people love that. But some people want to be challenged more with their reading, if that makes sense. Again, different strokes, different folks. So I like DT's rap music. Yeah. Pavarotti is the best opera singer. Rest in peace. I never heard DT sing. You won't see me sing. I don't really have any singing skills. Mostly stick to instrumental, particularly the brass instruments. Maybe the flute. I like the recorder. The soprano recorder, the alto recorder. I can play them one day. Actually, I could play them with some piano accompaniment. Recorded piano. Well, we could actually live stream me. Actually, I could do a recital or something, not with the trombone. This room is way too small for something as loud as a trombone, but maybe do some, Baroque recorder music. Oh, I don't know. There's a live stream for Taking Into Account tonight. Nobody knew there was a live stream tonight. I didn't know there was going to be a live stream tonight until 30 minutes before I hit the start streaming button. Just saves me from having to edit video, so we just did it live. We've already covered the 5 topics I was going to cover. So these were the topics we covered tonight. Scientific Linux is dead. Was that a good thing? Red Hat's signature Fedora logo disappearing from the headquarter towers on the 1st of May. Mozilla released their 2019 Internet Health Report. Microsoft's third quarter revenue was up 14% on the back of strong cloud and Windows revenue, shockingly. Ubuntu 19.10 development started. Daily build ISOs are now available. So that is a little bit of what we covered here. Check out the IRC chat. What is going on over there? Let's see. Just more nerd talk over there. Just a bunch of nerds in the DistroTube IRC channel. So. Yeah. Yep. Pavarotti is the best, but Jonathan of Jonathan and Charlotte is impressive. I don't know those. Might have to YouTube that one. Yeah, Eowyn is a terribly clumsy adjective for a distro name. You know what? I was thinking that too. It's like they purposely picked the most obscure word. So, yeah, nerds. I resemble that remark. Yeah. Well, you're the ultimate nerd, Michael. But you wear it proudly. You know, you can wear that badge. And what kind of trained classical musician are you? Which instrument primarily? The trombone. Matter of fact, I've played some of my recordings before, me playing the trombone on the channel before. You can't look them up, though, in the YouTube search because that wasn't the point of those videos. But sometimes on these live streams, you know, I end with some of my recordings. Yeah, disco is an adjective. You're right. Yeah. Looking dapper today, DT. I'm testing Solid X EE edition. Yeah, make a distro and call it Trombone Linux. Yeah, I don't know, but people are going to shorten it, though. You know, it's going to just be called Bone, you know. So why not just start out with Bone OS and save people the trouble of shortening that name? Yeah, I'm glad I switched to Fedora today since you told me it's EOWIN. What? Yeah, I don't know where you're going with that. Sorry, Harry. I'm not the only one drinking tonight, apparently, because I don't know what you were trying to type there. Yeah, VMware is still popular. Yes, it is. Unfortunately. Not that VMware is a bad product, but the company could be better. I mean, they have a seat on the Linux Foundation, and they have been sued for violating the GPL. Yeah, the company that's sitting on the Linux Foundation board sued for violating the GPL. Think about that. All right, so let's see. Let me get to my desktop here. What desktop am I recording? Why am I recording that desktop? That is not the typical desktop I record. All right, let's record that monitor. And let's see if I actually have some music to play you guys. I'm actually not sure if I do. I may have to plug in an external drive. Let's see. Oh, here we are. Yeah, let's play it in Deadbeef because it's already on the system. Arco already had Deadbeef installed. That's not the one I meant to play. How is the volume level on that, guys? It's a bit quiet. Well, this portion of the song is actually kind of quiet. Sorry, guys. How's that audio level now? This particular piece is written by a French composer. This is the Ballade for Trombone and Piano by Bozza, B-O-Z-Z-A. Has some jazz elements to it. Alright, so little preview of DT live. DT actually performing live, not this. That was a live recording, yeah. Let's see. Yeah, we just need Humphrey Bogart to walk into the room. It does have kind of one of those feels, that particular song. Yeah. DT, are you a Buddhist? I saw that you have that small statue in your rack. Yeah, the Buddhist statue. I do like reading about the Buddhist religion, but I am not a Buddhist. I had that statue. I did a review of Bodhi Linux. And Bodhi, the name of everything in Bodhi, the Moksha desktop environment and everything, all terms from the Buddhist religion. So I kind of prominently featured that statue when I did my review of Bodhi. And I've just left it in this room since. Let's see. Yeah, Gentoo Linux uses XFCE 12 and 13. So they have two different versions of XFCE in the repos. Yeah, Grayson. Yeah, you're into New Age, so. Yeah, David Arkenstone, Yanni. Yeah, Yanni's big. All over the world. Yeah, some of those chord changes make no sense to me, but I love the atmosphere. Yeah, I say it had some jazz elements. It's also French. There was some impressionistic kind of things thrown in there. Yeah, it's not your typical harmonic progressions in that piece. Again, it's not a pop tune. It's not something probably that you're going to just listen and just instantly get. You want something that you're more likely to understand. Let's see what else I had. Try this one. This is more romantic styled music, meaning like the romantic era. But it's a modern piece of music. This is the second movement of the Sonata for Trombone and Piano by Eric Awazin. Yeah, Anna Rita, a sad song, yes. It does have a sad element to it. Beautiful movement, though. The slow middle movement here. Again, a little preview for you guys. Alright. And back to the chat. So, any of you want to throw out anything in the chat? Now's a good time. I probably shouldn't hang out too much longer. I do have to work tomorrow as well. Just one of the reasons why we did the live stream for taking into account is just so we could get this in a timely fashion. I would have spent twice as long, maybe 3 times as long, doing the pre-recorded edition of taking into account. So this saved me some time doing this. Alright, yeah, today's classical hits with DT. Yeah, Bone OS should be rolling release. I agree. Yeah, it should be based on Gentoo because Gentoo will bone you. Do you play jazz too? Let's see. I am in Louisiana and I play the trombone. I don't play that much jazz, actually. Although I have. I don't consider myself a jazz aficionado. Yeah, you like Manteca by Dizzy Gillespie. Great song. Absolutely. Manteca's great. That's a classic. Dizzy Gillespie's a classic. Yeah. If you like a jazz trombonist, check out Carl Fontana. It's great. J.J. Johnson. Check out J.J. Johnson for jazz trombonists. Yeah, thanks, DT, says Mitchell. Grayson, missed the chat. I heard kids screaming in my bedroom while wearing my hearing aids. Oh. Yeah, Abu, the music was great. Thanks, yeah. Thanks, appreciate that. Yeah, I'm living in my mom's house, says Grayson. DT's been at the Curses Radio. Love the music. And thanks, DT. Ever play with Raspberry Pi, DT? I have a Raspberry Pi. Yep. Manjaro Deepin is the best OS. I like Manjaro. If you like the Deepin desktop environment, which I don't hate the Deepin desktop environment, yeah, Manjaro is an option. DT, what is the oldest window manager for Linux? I don't know what the oldest window manager for Linux is. The common desktop environment, CDE, has been around forever. I think that's what, like if you want to go back to like the early Slackware editions, Slackware being, one of the first Linux distributions. CDE has been around for a while, but we've had, most of these desktop environments weren't invented when Linux came to be. I mean, some of them kind of existed before then from BSD. They were forked or ported or whatever. TWM. Yeah, TWM is Tom's Window Manager. That's actually part of X11. Many people don't know that. That's actually the X Window Manager. But the Linux kernel came out officially in 1991. The first editions of Slackware and Debian. Shortly thereafter, by 95, you had things like FEWM and After Step and Window Maker, and we had all kinds of window managers like from the beginning. So there's no real original window manager, like we just started with one, there were multiple window managers. So. Yeah, Enlightenment. Yeah, I don't think Enlightenment has been around going back that far. I could be wrong about that, though. I'm not exactly sure as far as when Enlightenment started as a project. Yeah, thanks for the suggestions. Listening to J.J. Johnson now, and I like what I hear. Yeah, J.J. Johnson is interesting for a jazz trombonist. Nice sound. I like his tone quality. He doesn't do a lot of vibrato. You don't hear a lot of slide vibrato or anything in his playing, so. Yeah, UWM was 1985, TWM was 1986. Yeah, so Tom's Window Manager predates Linux even. So. Yeah, DT, thank you for the music, and I will get his album now. Hold on with T-Mobile. Yeah, with T-Mobile. You don't want T-Mobile. Whoever was asking about T-Mobile, shut that down right now. Yeah, I missed the eyeballs that follow the cursor. That's X eyes. Again, one of the default X apps. TWM is one of the default X apps. X eyes, X calc, all that stuff. It's really all kind of bundled into X. If you install everything, as far as the X11 package. Yeah, Enlightenment started in 1997. Thank you, Michael. I knew somebody would know. Although, Michael, you don't strike me as the kind of person that would use Enlightenment. I'm kind of shocked you knew that. Be honest, Michael. You Googled it, or you DuckDuckGo'd it. Yeah, I'll send the mass email tonight. Okay. Are you going to review my new Hackman update, Derek? I know you're low on time. Yeah, I actually planned, I got the ISO from you, Ben, last week, and I wanted to do something this week. I just didn't have time. I didn't make a video all week, this entire week. So, and that's unusual for me. I just was completely out of time. I still have your ISO. I just need to find time to check it out and put it on video. DT, if you are doing Window Maker in the future, I have a link that will be handy. Okay. Enlightenment looked so awesome when I got Red Hat 5.2. X-Eyes from Sun New S. NEWS. Okay. You have the ability to install a VM in a VM. Yes, you do. However, you'll have to consider performance. Yes, you do. And latency issues. That's true. Because each VM in a VM in a VM, as you go further down, is siphoning off resources from the host machine, the VM, the next VM. So I have used it, but I haven't in a decade. Okay. I actually have not used Enlightenment, Michael. I've never actually tried to use Enlightenment and live in Enlightenment, which is strange, because I would probably like it, being such a big advocate of OpenBox, for example. Enlightenment's not terribly different from OpenBox. I mean, they're different, but Tom's window manager is fine, but I prefer Steve's. Yeah. And I know you've never really tried Tom's window manager, Harry, because Tom's window manager is horrible. It's horrid. What's the best way of sharing the link? You cannot share the link in the YouTube chat. It won't let you. But if I make you a moderator, Morality 124, now you can post a link. Post it in the YouTube chat. Yeah, Patrick, he says shower time, work time, bye. Yeah. I definitely wouldn't cut out shower time just to view this stream. So, if you need to take a shower, guys, by all means, just go ahead. You don't even have to say bye. I understand. So, yeah, still wanting to try the common desktop environment. I think it's still part of the Unix certification standard. So the common desktop environment is very old, and it has some very serious security flaws. For example, CDE, the common desktop environment, is in the Arch repositories. There is an Arch wiki page on how to install CDE on Arch, but the very first line of that page asks you not to install it because there's some security holes with CDE. So it's not recommended for real use. Yeah, Enlightenment is like OpenBox with a bit more polish. Yes, it's a lot more polished, actually, than OpenBox. I would agree with that, Michael. It's much more like a proper desktop environment, where OpenBox is really just a window manager. When I say OpenBox is just a window manager, I mean literally OpenBox is the border around a window that draws it on the screen. That's all OpenBox is. No panels and docks and menus. Well, it has the right-click menu on the desktop, but it doesn't have any of that extra stuff most people associate with a desktop environment. Where Enlightenment, it's got all that stuff, and widgets and systray and all that stuff. Or at least the Moksha desktop environment in Bodhi, really nice. Yeah, shower time. Yeah, so many of you guys have got a shower. I guess it's that time of day. Yeah, I wonder what CDE package IBM uses then for their AIX. I'm not sure on that. It would seem odd that IBM would ship a current Unix product with a security risk. Yeah, that would seem strange. Yeah, you're right. Enlightenment is almost a desktop environment, but isn't. Yeah. Yeah, forgot to shower today, says Tilcerus. Okay. Now, I guess now some of you guys are feeling guilty because people are going off to shower, and some of you guys know that you're kind of funky today and you didn't get the shower in. Like, dude, just log off the stream. Just jump in the shower, 5 minutes, come back. I'll wait. I'll be here another 5 minutes. So go take care of that. Matter of fact, if you want, I'll open up another beer. I'll be here another 10 minutes. You use the soap too. So if you got hair, put some shampoo. I don't have to worry about the shampoo because intentionally didn't shower because I don't have to leave the house. So I'm assuming nobody's coming over to your house either. So if you've got that significant other coming over, you might want to shower. So yeah, grab another cold one, boys. Yeah. Yeah, Lars, I could listen to Derek talk classical music for days. Well, obviously, like I said, I have a couple of degrees in music. I have a bachelor and a master's degree in music. So worked on a PhD for a little bit, didn't complete it. Well, I could talk about classical music for forever. We could get deep into some discussions on that. Could talk about music history or composition, performance, whatever aspect of music you want to get into. Would be an interesting YouTube channel, huh? I wonder if there's any good classical music YouTube channels. Even though classical music interests me, I don't ever like Google or YouTube stuff like that. Yeah, somebody who has played in the past, I'm very impressed by your trombone playing. The tone is excellent. Appreciate that morality. Oh, thanks for the super chat. No. Did you have a question or a comment you wanted to leave? Let's see. You can't even transfer me to the right department twice, and you think a SIM card is required for home internet. Well, Mark, you are having some issues today. Grayson, it's about to rain hard. We had some pretty bad storms here in my neck of the woods today. Yeah, too much information. So I'm assuming people are still talking about their showering. So yeah, degree in music, second channel, classic tube. Yeah. You have so many talents. What are you doing in retail? Selling stuff. Work for a large retailer here in the U.S. And no, it's not Walmart. Somebody in the chat's going to, Walmart? That's usually the first thing you guys ask. I don't work for Walmart. Yeah. Yeah. I'm going to Linux Fest. What videos should I make? Says Pizza Loving Nerd. Make whatever your passion is. What are you most knowledgeable about, Pizza? I'd go for that, What video, if you could only make one video and you wanted to share it with the world, make that video. Yeah, Peabody. Hope it's not Sears. Don't worry, I am safe. The company I work for is in no danger. They're doing very well. So, a growing company. Not one of these companies that's shutting down stores and laying off people. I'm in good shape here. So, yeah. So, Grayson, just not in a professional field. I'm a self-taught Linux administrator in my home network. Good for you. Yes, Steve, from Steve's Very Own, also works in retail. We've discussed this before, Steve. Like minds. Me and Steve. But you can tell when you watch me on video and interacting with people, and the same thing when you watch Steve's very on his channel, we have the right personality for that line of work, for retail, customer service, even food service, interacting with people and dealing with people, handling anything somebody throws at me, just handling it without getting frustrated, flustered. Just knowing Steve just through video, I can tell you he's that kind of person, and that's why I'm sure he's successful in that line of work. Amway. Is Amway still around, Paul? I haven't heard anybody mention Amway in 20 years. Yeah, Pizza Loving Nerd says he's making 100 videos at Linux Fest. How are you going to make 100 videos at Linux Fest? I hope they're really short. Also, you got to understand, I've seen this with other YouTube channels, not Linux related channels, but they go to some big festival or conference or some big event that's big in whatever niche they're covering on YouTube, and they do these 1 or 2 minute clips. They see something interesting, they record it, and they immediately upload it to YouTube. You have to understand the people that are subscribed to you get notifications, right? They don't want their notifications to get blown up because you uploaded 50 different videos that day. So it's something to consider, because people will complain if you do something like that. Yeah. So Newski says, I am also self-taught. I work for a large corp, but I recall being ticked off when my buddy first installed Linux on my PC after a virus took over my system. I feel I owe him. Yeah, did he install Linux on your PC without even telling you or asking for your permission? If he did that, I would say that's kind of a jerk move. Even if it did get you to Linux, though. Yeah, STS Tech, Mark thinks he deserves beef jerky. Beef jerky is a fine meal. Yeah, and Tux Digital, I agree. I've unsubscribed to that kind of channel. It's great to have a playlist of a conference, but don't overdo it. Yeah. Because I remember one channel I was subscribed to, I forget what the topic was. This a few years ago, but I remember the guy had a pretty substantial YouTube channel, lots of subscribers, lots of followers, got a lot of views on his stuff. He went to some conference about something, and he must have uploaded like 120 videos over the span of 2 or 3 days. And a lot of his subscribers really complained about that. They're like, dude, my phone's blowing up all the time. And then now I'm clicking on, I got to go back and watch 120 different videos. None of these are more than a few minutes long. Man, just don't release them right away. Go home, edit them, put them in half a dozen proper videos instead of whatever it was, 120 smaller chunks. So, yeah, I'm installing Gentoo with a GUI installer from Portage. Well, I hope it works out, Ben, but you've installed Gentoo enough. You don't need the GUI installer, Ben. You should just do the command line installer. The GUI installer, that's not going to save you any time anyway. It's all the compiling, right? I mean, you still got to sit there and wait on everything to compile, so. All right, let's see. All right, guys. Well, I'm going to go ahead and kill the stream. I do appreciate you guys hanging out with me for a little bit, but I do need to get going. I've got a long day ahead of me tomorrow as well. I've got to get back to work in the morning. I don't know if I'll do any content on the YouTube channel tomorrow. I probably will do something Saturday, though, is the plan. If possible, I might do something tomorrow night as well, but for sure, you guys will probably get something Saturday. I've got something kind of planned. Actually had it planned for a few days. Just haven't got around to making that video. I'm not going to give you any hints on what it is. You'll just have to stay tuned for that. All right, yeah, appreciate that. So we got a few good nights. Take care. See ya, DT. All right. Yeah, see you. See all you guys. So Yeah, still got over 100 people hanging out here. I want to thank each and every one of you guys for hanging out. This was fun. I hope you guys enjoyed taking into account episode 39. Doing it live just to save me a little time, so I'll try to release taking into account episode 40 sometime next Thursday, time permitting. If not, I'll try to give you guys a heads up on exactly when we're going to do this next week. Hopefully next week I'll go back to the pre-recorded taking into account. Probably won't do it live unless I need to for some reason. And of course, I do need to thank a few people before I go. This show was made possible by Ansem, Carlos, Chris, Douglas, Dylan, Leor, Rob, Robert, and Tony. They're the producers of the show, my highest tiered patrons over on Patreon. Without them, this show would not be possible. Also brought to you by all those names you see on the screen, all those fine ladies and gentlemen that help support my work over on Patreon. Again, without each and every one of them, this show would not be possible. All right, guys. Peace.